Well, welcome. I'm Ken Moore, and this is class of 1970. What happened? And today, well, you already know, I've got Jim Harrah. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah. Hey, can you? Oh, I got to hit an okay thing here to get. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. All right,
Are we dialed in?
we're good. We're good.
All right. Well, Jim, it's just great to lay eyes on you, and I'm really excited to hear about your experience at high school, seeing that world through your eyes as you look back. What was great? What wasn't so great? What do you miss? What did you take away from it? Any kind of questions that people might be interested to hear about you. And of course, they remember you were a football star.
Well,
And
I played.
you played.
I
You were
played.
a halfback,
Yeah,
right?
halfback, tailback. Yeah,
Starting
and
halfback and running
and
through the line with the football. That's pretty fun,
then,
right?
free safety.
Oh, yeah, of course, most of us played both ways because it was a small school and
Yep.
that's what we had to
That's
do.
rare these days. That's rare these days, man. They got D coordinators, offensive coordinators. Kids don't play both ways unless you're like a John Lynch or something like that, you know. And then,
Now, you're a coach, right? You coach kids.
yeah, I got into that pretty early actually, because after I graduated, I was doing some college stuff, and then I went back actually to La Jolla High to do some internships as a TA, just to kind of see if I wanted to get into teaching because I loved high school. I had a great time, and I always thought it'd be kind of fun to share that. So I went back and experimented, and I fell in love with it. I got this passion for working with kids. So yeah, I helped Edwards a little bit with the football team. I helped Swaim with the track team a little bit, but not that much. But my real full time coaching got into when I went into Torrey Pines High School. I started coaching football with their new coach and Ed Burke, and we had a real good team. Torrey Pines was winning championships back then. Not because of me. I was just a position coach kind of guy. But then one day the athletic director goes, "Hey Jim, we just had to get rid of our volleyball coach because he was misbehaving for the girls team." And he said, "You're married. You're a good guy. You got good values." I go, I think. He goes, "How'd you like to take over the team?" And so 1984, I took over the women's volleyball team at Torrey Pines High School. And I did that. I retired in 2011 from that with some comings and goings throughout the years, but I left so I could go watch my daughter play soccer in college. So I wanted to be a dad finally. So anyway, yeah, I coached a lot. So
Let's
anyway.
go back on some of that. That's an amazing um, tale you just told. The Let's go back to what it was like to step back onto La Jolla High School football field as a coach. That must have been so incredible to take that position of Eveleth and those guys that were coaching us, and now you're one of those guys.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things was going back and working with them. I don't want to say exactly as peers, they're older than me, but now I'm working with them, and I got to see a whole different side of them, of Edwards, what the soft side of him, and what a great father he was, and dad he was, to his son. I mean, father, but then dad coaching his son on the football team, and then uh, getting to know Rick Eveleth real well, and we've stayed pretty good friends, and his wife Vicky. When I was there, he married Vicky. I forget her maiden name, but Vicky Eveleth, who was a women's PE coach and volleyball coach. So I got to know them pretty well, and then Al Lamont and we had a great time. We loved him, and we played basketball every lunch. And he was bigger than me. He had to move me around a little bit with his fat butt, but I but I had to hold my own. But anyway, just those connections became personal, not just teacher, student, coach, athlete. And to me, that was really special. And real quick, while thinking about this, that also happened when I was doing the TA work in the classroom, actually the academic side of it, because I got to meet teachers that were my favorite teachers, teachers I knew but didn't have classes with, and got to see behind the scenes how teachers are, and that was really motivating for me. They're just human beings who really cared about the kids. but that was cool getting to see the other side of stuff.
So you kind of got to go back and get a whole different view of
Yeah.
what a unique experience. Nobody else has done that in the class, I bet.
Not that I know of, but it
Yeah.
was special. It was special for sure.
Well, let me ask you about, well, I won't ask you about random teachers, although I'll do one. Mrs. Zeno, did you get to know her?
Yes, I did. I didn't have her as a teacher, but she was very good friends with Ann Donaldson, who I had for chemistry. And Ann was really good, Mrs. Donaldson, but Ann was really good in the fact that I was struggling with it because I was at math was I was okay at math, but chemistry just somehow just was a challenge at that time.
Hmm.
So I would stay after class into lunch, and she would tutor me, which was really nice. And plus she was pleasant on the eyes, no doubt. But then Zeno would come in, and they'd have lunch together and they'd chat. So I got to know her through that. And then once I went back, we could communicate and we established a little bit of a friendship, I guess.
Well, I did
She
not
was
have Mrs. Donaldson, but I noticed she was cute. Um, I did have Mrs. Zeno. Now you've got all their first names memorized, and of course, I don't know those. But I had Mrs. Zeno for 10th grade literature or English, and her dad died during that year. He was
mm,
ill. She was going through that while she was teaching us, and
I can imagine.
it was so real that to me to see that, and she had us read "Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night," and that's stuck with me ever since. It was really powerful teaching. She was so open and honest and real um, with us. That's just an incredible, a special memory for me.
You know, I vaguely remember that happening because Donaldson had said something, and then that was the year before. I just remember that happening, and then interestingly, when my dad died, I was at Torrey Pines, and
Mm,
in my advanced placement U.S. history class, we were just getting into World War II, I think, at that time, because
hmm.
it's kind of a real expedited curriculum because they have to take that test in April and May, yeah, April, and he had just passed, and yet I had to show up and go to work.
Mm.
But it was very emotional teaching World War II
Oh,
after my dad had just passed, knowing he was, in the South Pacific fighting the Japanese, and so that was interesting. Yeah.
so just backing up, you so while you're coaching at Torrey Pines, you were a teacher.
Yes, I mean, I majored in history, minored in English, and that was my primary deal. I wanted to be a history teacher, and you teach all kinds of things, but primarily U.S. and American government, and so that's what got me into the school because I did my student teaching there. And then to secure a job back then, if you coach, the principals look kindly on that. Hey, we can have a guy who teaches and also coaches, and so yeah, and that was my primary job. I mean, when I was a head coach of volleyball, it was like 2 40-hour work weeks in one because my primary responsibility was teaching my AP US history classes and my AP government classes and taking care of all those kids. And then at the same time, running a volleyball program that was pretty good. So yeah, it was carrying the load, but bringing that up, it's funny. Going to some of the early reunions, people said, "Hey, you're a teacher, huh? Did you teach PE?" I go, "No effing way, I was not a PE teacher." It's just because I guess because I was an athlete and I spent a lot of time doing sports as a kid, I got this stereotype, which of course we do, and as well as I that stereotypes carry forever, but that was I never coached PE, and that was always a secondary thing in my academic career. So I mean, I don't. So anyway, yeah,
Well, PE teachers, I don't know. We really had Well, I never had a PE class in high school. I was always in a sport. But in
right, same,
junior high, we had Mr. Dimich and Mr. Rogers, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I
Love,
respected
love those guys.
great guys. So what if you were a PE teacher? I mean, those guys shape young men. So uh, we could have good stories to talk about if you were a PE teacher. But AP history. That's 12th grade, right? And that's like
That's 11th grade.
advanced placement. Still, you're kind of running it like these are the kids that can take a lot, and you're running it. It's an advanced class. You're running it kind of like a college class. Like, here's the reading. Don't whine. You know,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be buckled down. So let's learn a lot of stuff here, right? It must have been nice having a classroom where people were dialed in to like, I'm here to learn.
Yeah, bottom line, it's defined as a college level history course, like it's your introductory history course, history 101, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And the curriculum is pretty heavy. You have to go through from pre-Columbian all the way to let's say the 70s, 80s. When I left, it was getting creeping into the 80s. Obama was in there, but a little bit into the early 2000s. But you had to go through really quick. But yeah, these kids were sharp. I mean, I had to keep up with some of them. You know, I mean, these guys are going off to. They're getting 1,600 on SATs, and they're going to Harvard. They're going to Yale. They're going to Stanford full rides, but they were great kids, and I learned as much from them as I think they did from me. But we had to go through quick, and they had that big test in April, you know, the AP test, and to get a good enough grade to kind of wipe out some credits in college so they could move forward quicker.
Yeah.
So, but that was special, and I did not have classroom management problems. You know, that's because they were dialed in. They wanted to learn, and it was awesome. It was fun.
Wow,
Good question.
there's so many things I want to go back and touch on. But one of them was, so you when you're coaching football at Torrey Pines, you won a championship.
We I think we won a CIF championship in that 4-year window.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it must have
Yeah.
been incredible to be on the field then, just part of that.
Yes, it was. And yeah, we did volleyball. We accomplished that a few times, so that was kind of fun. Yeah.
That'd be hard
So
to think about anything else during the day. You got your kids, you've trained them, they're up against the best of the best. Oh my gosh.
yeah, it was pretty cool. We had some rivals, and we won our league championship a lot. Hey, you know what, Ken? Just like the kids in the AP classes, you're only as good as the kids you have. And sorry, a bird just hit the window, but but only as good as the kids you have. And like I was a good coach, I think, but I had good athletes too. And I think that's sometimes tougher. It's like with the academics and you're dealing with these advanced kids in academics and sports. And so sometimes that's harder because you've got to elevate and maintain and elevate their level and keep pushing these really good athletes and students forward and get them out of their comfort zones. And that was a blast. It was a good challenge, and it was always learning.
So fun talking to you. Just having all that go through my mind. What a great time. What a great. And hey, oh, and you lived in La Jolla.
Yeah, I left La Jolla in '77.
Okay.
I moved to Solana Beach,
Nice.
and minus a couple of different residences here and there, I'm back in Solana Beach. So I've been in this current house that we bought in 2000, I think. So
That's nice. That's nice. Now, a Solana Beach to Torrey Pines, that's not a bad commute.
Oh no, I never had to get on the freeway. I just went down to basically Villa de la Valle, went out towards Rancho Santa Fe, crossed the polo fields, and then up through the neighborhood. So it was easy. It was an easy commute.
All right, let's dive into back to high school. I have this question that I like to ask. It just kind of people kind of wonder what was each other's world like? What was your world like? And so one way into that is who'd you eat lunch with?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. As I shared, I grew up surfing the Hoy Shores and graduated to Windansea with George and Henry and Pat Ahern and all those guys. So I knew them very well. In a non-academic area, non-school setting, you get to be pretty good friends. And then when playing sports in middle school, bitty basketball in middle school, and then in the high school, I got to know a lot of really wonderful people there too. So I would eat lunch with I felt comfortable with a lot of different groups of people. So I would eat lunch with different folks. So it could be Henry or George. I mean, I even had lunch with um, Alan, a couple times, I'd sit down with Kip and Bill Fanner, Ray Townsend, or Craig Wells, or those guys. I'd sit down once in a while with Kathy Albrecht. Not that much. We're good friends now, but just kind of, I mean, Alicia Zestiak. I don't know if you remember her or not. We had a class together and we ate lunch together a lot. Because I really liked her. She was a solid person, and so anyway, just
Well, those are a lot of different groups. I mean, there were groups, right? You walk around and you go from group to group. I was somewhat like you, but I don't think it's as successful. I did like to um, not just get tied into one place and one group. I like to go out and see and meet, try to fit in. I don't think I was as smooth as you at fitting in. So I'd kind of, walk up to the Craig Wells Fanner Wilhelm group, and they'd kind of like, hi, like, what are you doing here? But still, I just tried to fit in and talk to as many people as I could. But I respect your people skills to do that.
well, I don't know how smooth I was. I was kind of I was shy, a little bit shy and awkward. I guess I faked it. I don't know, but when you're playing sports, you're doing battle, with guys, and you grow up surfing. You're in the water with people, so you get comfortable
Yeah.
with them. And I never. I look back and excuse me, I'm kind of glad I didn't get caught up in just having lunch with the same people every day for 3 years. I mean, there's so
Hmm.
many great individuals in our class. And I look back through the yearbook, I think before our reunion, and I was going, wow,
Yeah.
I don't remember all of them, but I remember a lot of them. But I looked, God, what great people. And so anyway,
Well, this is why I wanted to do this, is to let me reintroduce myself and maybe even break through some ignorance that I just never, got to know people and get to know them better and find out what great people I was hanging out with. That's a wish of mine that I had done, been, I guess, more open to sometimes we make assumptions, and
yeah.
that kind of holds us back. So let me ask you, what would you tell yourself, your 10th grade self or your 12th grade self, right now, if you could?
Well, I probably would have said things maybe, I was a decent student, not a straight A student by any means, but I was a decent student. I would say maybe focus a little bit more, a little more disciplined in certain things, and not maybe when I had homework and the surf was good, maybe I should have stayed. But here's the deal with all that Ken, fast forward. A, a theme in my history class forever, and I believe it's in relationships and individuals. We're products of our past. We're products of everything we are today is a result of everything we've done throughout our history since we were little kids. So to go back and say, what I would do different, yeah, I mean, there's some things maybe, but I wouldn't be who I am without the person I was back then, if that makes sense. And I'm really happy with how my life's turned out. I've been totally blessed. I got a beautiful wife. I got 4 great kids. I had an incredible career. I've been able to retire with a paycheck, and it's like, so if I had taken a different tangent or maybe done things a little different, I don't know. Maybe it would have, who knows? But
Wow. That reminds me of a Garth Brooks song, The Dance. It's best not to know uh, everything that's going to come because you might make different choices.
yeah, it's like people like fortune tellers or, reading palms.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go do that, whether it's BS or not. I don't want to know anything past tomorrow, past
Wow.
lunch. Well, I know I'm doing stuff, but as far as how my life goes,
That's
it's one day
incredible.
at a time, baby.
Well, I think, can you name somebody else that was heavy into sports like yourself and also into surfing? Besides surfing as a sport, obviously, but I mean into on the field, on the court sports.
that was also into surfing.
Yeah.
Um, shoot. God, the surf guys that come to mind, just pretty much that's all they did. Um, well, Kip Ives was a great swimmer and surfer.
Yes, that's right.
Great swimmer and surfer. I'm trying to think on the football because the thing is, and no one would say it here because Edwards would say you can't surf, no surfing, the wrong muscles, and I was always going BS. I did anyway because that is probably one of the best core workouts you could have,
I
right?
didn't remember him saying that.
Yeah, he said that, and another thing you shouldn't do because it would weaken your legs. But, but, but he and so nobody was really taught. I know Max surfed. We played a lot of beach volleyball and surfed together. Max Roughcorn, Carter Stout, now Carter Crary. We surfed together, and he
Okay.
was on the football. So there's a
All
couple.
right. All right. Well, you
Yeah,
guys were a small group, and I think that's great that you were had that diversity and that, that breadth.
yeah. Well, it's fun. Good balance.
All right, tell us about your girlfriends.
Girlfriend. Well, I had a few girls I liked and I dated.
Yeah.
I did not have a steady girlfriend in high school.
Uh-huh.
Not for lack of wanting, I don't think. I would play three sports. Um, I was busy, and part of me too uh, uh, didn't want to get locked into anything, I guess. But I went on some dates and I had some crushes, and so
Who'd you take to the senior prom?
I took Jill Vincent.
Okay, okay. I think I called her too late. She said I already have plans. Of course, I was probably the 20th caller, but
Well, interesting story there is that we dated. Shoot, she was a year younger and maybe early on in our years, but we stayed really good friends. It just became, really good. It was always platonic and really good friends
yeah.
and almost best friends for one of my best girlfriends. And so I was trying to think, who do I want to take to the prom? And I had a couple of girls that, we talked about it, and I kind of thought maybe they were saying, well, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I wanted to take her. The problem was she was dating another guy, and he was like 3 years older.
I remember that. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Richard Krug, and we were good friends. And I had to, and Jill goes, "Well, go ahead and ask him. He won't care." And I go, "She's going to kick my ass." Sorry, but I went and asked him. He goes, kind of sat back a little bit. He says, "Well, you can do it. I'll let you do it, but you better have her home by midnight. No after party stuff." And I said, "Yes, sir," kind of thing, because he was one of those older guys who you didn't want to mess with, right? But anyway, it all worked out. We had a great time.
That's an incredible story. Did you
Richard,
call him up?
we used to
Did you
like
call
talk
him up
about.
at midnight and say I dropped her off, sir?
I don't think I met the curfew, but she goes, "Hey, we're going to go do this." I think we went to the Claremont Bowl. Did we go to Claremont Bowl and play and bowl afterwards? And I know we got it. We stayed up all night, went surfing.
Yes, that's
Kip,
right. Good memory.
yeah, and then Kip and I went surfing that next morning with I think a couple other people. Yeah, so that was
Crazy.
my prom story at the Westgate Executive Plaza, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, with the roof slid back. It was under the
Yeah,
stars.
yeah.
Let's see. Do you remember the theme?
No,
I think I remember the theme. More today than yesterday.
yeah,
It was a song back then, but not as much as tomorrow. I forget who sang it, but that was the
yeah.
theme.
It's in my head, but I can't think of the guy who sang
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Oh man. Wow, this is great. Well, tell us about your kids.
Okay, well, I have four. My older son just hit 37. He works for an international marketing company, actually based out of France. He just picked up that job, and he's really, really stoked. And he was in the food service industry. He's was ran a company that developed and manufactured craft cocktails. He wrote a curriculum for people to get their bartending licenses. He was a waiter, a good waiter, and so he's had a good career. Married. My middle son James is in the executive suites at Rip Curl, the surfing company. Um, and yeah, he gets all the free equipment, and he gets the surf lower trestles every day. And he's kind of like the mayor. He gets every wave he wants, and he's really good. So he's earned his way. So I'm proud of him. He's married. They just had my first granddaughter actually right around Thanksgiving, Pearl, and then she works for Surfrider. Then my younger two are twins, and boy girl. And my daughter is works for a company called Aloha Collections. They manufacture splash proof bags for beachwear, fanny packs, backpacks. They got baby bags and tote bags, and they're global. And she's really doing well with that. She's on their executive team. She manages all the logistics for that. And then her twin brother is into the golf world. He works up at Loma Santa Fe Country Club in the little executive course. Kind of in the pro shop, and I like my kids to do what they love to do. So,
How
and
many of
he's
them?
married,
That's beautiful. How many of them do you surf with?
all of them,
Oh my
all of them.
God.
It's been a little bit only because I'm chicken. I can't stand cold water, and they're busy. But when we have a chance, we surf. I taught them how to surf. When they were younger, we surfed all the time, all the time. It was really cool. And every summer we do these things called a surf safari. We get a couple of families from Solana Beach. We drive up to Old Man's at Santa Onofre, and we try to get the hut, the shack, the iconic shack there, and we make breakfast. We surf all day, and it's just being out in the water and just sitting on the beach watching my kids surf and having fun. It's really special. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, Jim, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Well, it's been about half an hour already. I think if we keep these to a half an hour, it'll keep it fresh, keep it
Sure.
interesting. And there's a plan afoot. Mike Sparks messaged me and said, "Hey," I said, "Hey," he said, "Hey, that was a great show with Marnie." And I said, "Yeah, you're next." And he goes, "Well, I don't know." And then he messages me back and he says, "I've got Judy Bernstein and Bob Noble. How about if we all come on?"
Oh, there we go.
So he's trying to pull that together, and we'll see how a group chat goes.
He
Maybe
just doesn't want to get out in front of everybody by himself. Come on, Michael, you can do it.
it's
He's
all
living
right.
over in he's living
But
over in Maui, enjoying the good life.
yeah, so they're in three different times. I think Bob Noble is in China.
Wow,
And
nice.
so hopefully he'll pull that together. But I was thinking, there's 100 people, 200 maybe that I can interview. If I do one a week, that's going to take a long time. So why not get a few? And plus, I'd like to circle back too. We could talk another hour. But anyway, that's what's coming up.
Oh, that's fun, Ken. It's really nice you're doing it. And like I told you, between your last show with Marnie and now, I really appreciate your passion for the class and doing this because, we're getting older and these are dear friends, and we got to hold on to them as long as we can. And, it's like with George and Henry, I've known them forever. Like Mike Marquardt, for example, and Henry Hester, I've known them since we were four years old,
Yeah.
and so I just treasure those friendships.
Oh, I've got great stuff to talk about with all those guys, memories I have on
Oh,
them.
cool.
Incredible
Nice.
people. All right, Jim. Thanks so much for jumping in and playing, and can't wait to see you soon.
All right, Ken. Take care, buddy. Good to see you.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Be well. See you.